Start a round of applause and keep it going, because we got a lot of them. First up, Principal Strickland, James Tolkan. And your Jennifer Parker, Claudia Wells. Next up, he's the mayor, and he lights us out of that tunnel of Fullilove. Next up, he's got that new sound we've been looking for. Listen to this, it's Marvin Berry, Harry Jr. Next up, it's Stella Baines, McFly, Frances Lee McCain. Keep it going for George McFly from Back to the Future 2 and 3, Jeffrey Weissman. Legendary sound effects man and composer in his own right, it's Howarth. And last but certainly not least, the man behind so many of our favorite action sequences in the Back to the Future franchise, as well as Michael J. Fox's filmography, Charlie Crowell. And that is all the time we have. Good night. Just kidding. Oh my God. I can't tell you what this means to me. This stage is like my DeLorean that time traveled me to be here with you. This movie is the reason I exist, personally and professionally. So from the bottom of my Back to the Future love and heart and all the fans, thank you for being here with us. Normally, when you say it's with a heavy heart, it means something negative. But today, it's with a heavy heart. It means something really positive. So let's kick it off. I have a question for each one of you. Claudia, thank you for being with us. It's so special to see not one but both of our Jennifer Parkers here. With Elizabeth.
It's a paradox.
It should be yeah. There you go. Yeah. It really is so special as fans. It's such a rare opportunity to see you both on stage last night. There was, it was pre-internet, and so there was some confusion for fans when Back to the Future 2 came out and it wasn't you. But I would love for you to tell the very heartwarming story of why you chose to step away with your mother for Back to the Future 2.
Okay, I have two answers.
Okay.
The first one's the truth, and the second one is funny.
Okay.
Okay, so my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer and lymphoma after I did Back to the Future 1. And she was 4th stage when she was diagnosed. So I took her, to radiation, hospital, and we used to play gin rummy in the hospital. She was a smoker, and she would bribe the orderly guys to get her cigarettes. And she'd open the window at USC, North Cancer Hospital, and we would play gin rummy while she's smoking her cigarettes in the hospital. This was a long time ago, and they let her get away with it. But it was a difficult, emotional time for me. She changed when she was ill, and actually told me that I gave her cancer because I was, I don't know why. So, emotionally, I was not in a place to do anything but deal with the horror at home and do the best I could to take care of her. And I wasn't in a place emotionally to be able to act. I need to be clean when I'm acting. And I was not. So I said no, and they were so nice, and they kept waiting, and they kept asking me, and I just said no. Thank you, but no. And the funny thing is, they cast Elizabeth Shue, and Adventures in Babysitting was down to Elizabeth Shue, me, and Phoebe Cates. And then I played Phoebe Cates' role in Fast Times that she did in the movie. So Hollywood is just like crazy. So the funny one is, Marty did something again where he talks to the wrong people and does the wrong thing, and he was warned not to by Doc, and so Jennifer ended up having different parents, right? And then they birthed Jennifer, and when Marty saw her, she looked different, but so did his dad. Mom was skinny, beautiful, brother was in a suit, so he didn't quite notice.
Love it. Well, I think it's safe to call you, yes, yeah. Even though you're only with us one film, it's such a delight to see you at all these events. I feel safe in crowning you the official cheerleader of the Back to the Future franchise.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Mom Gail says that.
Yeah, so we
I just want to clarify one thing.
Yeah.
I understand and know, and I'm certain there is no way I have the power to give anyone cancer. So I did get took a little therapy, but I got over it.
So we do have a special treat. I was waiting for the thumbs up that it was ready to go. Mr. Jeffrey Weissman, you brought a little special gift for all of us fans that has never before been seen.
Is this on?
Yeah.
Is yours on?
There we go.
Hers is
Yeah.
on. I got hers now. Because of the Michigas going on with Crispin Glover asking for $1 million and script approval, I stepped in because at the very last minute, the 11th, the 12th hour, I think I came in. I was originally told I was going to be a photo double, like Kevin Holloway was for mine. And then because I was friends with Crispin, I called him. I said, "What's going on?" He didn't call me back until part 3 came out. Said, they used my life mask and I gave him my pictures and stuff so he could get his settlement. So I was cut out. I was kept secret. The making of Back to the Future Part 2 documentary had pretty much cut me out of it. Luckily, the sound guy was a friend of mine, and he gave me some footage, which I'm going to show you guys now. So it's going to start out with just wrapping up the old age makeup. Been in the chair for about 2.5 hours here, taking a quick break, and then here comes the young George makeup. You got to turn that up. Can you turn that up? You got sound? Can't hear it. Well, Harry is singing Earth Angel right here, and you guys know what's going on. And Zemeckis had been calling me Crispin. There we go. So you can tell by the profile, it really is Crispin's life mask that the makeup was based on. Up straight on, it didn't quite look like him, so that's why they kept me in the background or out of focus or what have you. And so I had to ask Bob Z to stop calling me Crispin on action, so that's why you hear him say Leah for action on that one. So there you have it. That's kind of a Fan Expo exclusive, finally.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Tolkan, no other single word in cinema history has maybe become instantly iconic than slacker.
Hey, slackers out there!
I don't even have a question anymore. That was perfect. Donald, Mayor Goldie Wilson, yeah. You also became iconic. You have so much kind of optimism in your moment, and it's so representative in a really important way. Did you expect to kind of have the character take on this symbolism in that way?
Absolutely not. It came as a humbling surprise to me.
Yeah.
2010, I saw on the internet that Claudia, Jeffrey, and Michael, and some other Chris, and some other people were at a Back to the Future reunion.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Back to the Future reunion? I was in that movie years ago. What do you mean reunion? So I went on this thing that was pretty new to me at the time called the Google. And I put in my name, and I was, holy cow. It's because of each and every one of you in here that Goldie Wilson became a thing. I had no idea, so thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Harry Waters Jr., I see that you have not left Marvin Berry's fashion sense behind.
Since it was bruised.
Still, it's not healed, apparently.
40 years of a scam.
Man, that was a deep cut. It hasn't healed. Your role is also so pivotal. You have since, you're clearly still dressing the part, you've since performed at Enchantment Under the Sea reenactment dances. But what was it like to actually be there and film the iconic Johnny B. Goode scene?
It was the most fun you could have without any alcohol or drugs. The most fun. We had a live band every single day. We had dancing girls, well, they were extras, that would always dance with us. And it was the first new thing that they were shooting in the movie because they had to reshoot everything with the other person who was there. But the Enchantment Under the Sea dance was the new shooting for everybody. The crew, Mr. Spielberg showed up and called me Marvin. I was like, yeah, I'm Marvin. But everybody was happy, so it was an amazing moment. That's what I really always get to share with that, because I got to dance and I got to sing. And then, of course, Alvin Silvestri asked me if I wanted to sing the song. And I went, aren't you getting somebody from like the Four Tops or Temptations or the Spinners? But we went in there for 14 takes. Some people have heard this story. I don't know if I got to tell you, my friend. They put it together. I did not hear it until we went to a screening of the movie, and I screamed. Because it was like, what? Oh my God. So within that, I have to say that one of the things that was also the best is that the line that I get to sort of people remember me about is, it's called Chuck, it's Marvin.
Your cousin, Marvin Berry.
You know that
News sound you've been looking for?
well, listen to this. One take.
Wow! And Frances, you were of course known as a movie mom in Back to the Future, but you are 80s movie mom royalty. Back to the Future, Footloose, Gremlins, Stand By Me. You also are 90s movie mom royalty because you were a movie mom in Scream as well. What is it like to be a generation's 80s movie mom?
What was the question?
What was it like to be a generation's 80s movie mom?
I didn't know that I was a Generation 80s movie until the 2000s. But it's fabulous. I mean, look what's come out of it. It was a little ironic because I don't have children of my own. I'm a mom to a lot of kids in a very different way. I have lots of nieces and nephews, great nieces and nephews, and a great-great-nephew, and soon to be a new great-great, but we don't know maybe right now. Gender, sex, yet. So it was ironic and wonderful, and I don't know how to answer that really.
Well,
How does it feel to be an icon? Well, I'm hungry, I'm a little tired.
so Jeffrey, I had a question for you that was answered in your setup of the video, so we'll come back to you because I have another one for you. But Alan, Sir, it is a real honor that you're here with us. If you don't know, Alan's, is a composer in his own right, working with John Carpenter. He worked on Buckaroo Banzai, Beetlejuice, Raise the Lost Ark, Poltergeist, Gremlins with sound effects, and a number of iconic film scores. But you got to work with composer Alan Silvestri, and when you came in, the kind of soundscapes of Back to the Future had kind of been established from the first film in terms of what we think of the DeLorean and things like that. But you got to provide some pretty iconic sound effects for 2 and 3 with the hoverboard and the train. So what was it like kind of collaborating with Alan? Because the score is so not only musical, but it has a lot of sound effects built in, but also to kind of put your own stamp on the franchise with so many unique kind of props that needed sounds.
Well, I was talking about casting. I was put in the position of making these sound effects because I was a Star Trek guy. I did Star Trek 1 through 6.
Yeah.
Future, but I was a good that. So the sound effects editors approached me to make special sound effects, right? There's little editors and all this other stuff, but I was like a special sheet shop.
Yeah.
So we had these things we had to make, and then we talked about the sound of making the hoverboard. And I have a little video, I don't know if it came through, if we don't do it, we can't, but there was a PowerPoint to show. But it doesn't matter, we'll just keep going. So the idea was, they told me they didn't want a synthesizer sound.
Okay, yeah.
So everything I already had ready for them was like, well, forget that. And they wanted it to be acoustic, or what they said, organic.
Yeah.
Wanted it to come from reality. What am I going to do? I don't know. And one of the sound effects editors says, well, how about a tuning fork? I go, that's stupid. But I thought, okay, I'm going to go. So I took a tuning fork, and you hit it, it goes, right? I took the tuning fork and I put it in front of the microphone and I twisted it and went, and that became the sound of the hoverboard. Now I'll put back into my synthesizers and all this stuff, but the source, the gravity of it had to be real.
Yeah.
And that was what they were asking.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah, you could have just done it with your mouth. You didn't even need the tuning.
So that was the course of events, and so I was around. I made the voices for the talking gas leaders. That was funny. I had to go. It was before all this computer stuff.
Right.
We were talking about what is it, 83, 84, something like that, and now later 86. But still, no Pro Tools, and that stuff. And so I went for a company. I found a company that was doing computer voices for phone systems down in San Diego. And I approached them, and I got the computer voices from a real somebody that was doing advanced work, and that's why I was so lucky. Because right now, you get the phone on Google, and it's some robot, and you think it's a real person. But we envisioned the clunkiness. It's like we said, we always envisioned the future to be pixelated.
Yeah.
We couldn't imagine 4K and 8K.
Yeah.
So this is the whole idea of taking your lens and looking to the future.
Yeah.
From that time, and how it's not that way.
But at the same time, amazing how much they got right too, which is kind of crazy. Charlie, let's just get an applause for our stunt. Long overdue that our stunt community is finally getting honored at the Academy Awards, as recently announced. You were not only Michael J. Fox's stuntman on all 3 Back to the Future films, but 17 of his films over 10 years, including Teen Wolf. So you're good at basketball, we know that. Skateboard chases, driving DeLoreans, riding horses. Marty McFly, when you think of him, he's not only such a physical character in his comedy, but he's a physical character in his action. We know what Michael brought to Marty, but what did you bring of yourself to Marty? Because you are Marty McFly. You were part of that, what made that character what it was on screen.
Yeah, I mean, to make it believable, I'm not me when I'm performing for Mike. I have to be Mike. So I have to move the same way as him or Marty McFly. Everything I do has to be the same as he would do. So I spend an enormous amount of time just watching him and studying all of his, little quirky idiosyncrasies. So some of those things that Mike holds his hand a certain way, which is different than the way I hold my hand doing something. So I did that, slides into a position, the way he moves through space and time, the way his legs bend, the way his arms go, what's going on in his head? Is he scared? Is he anxious? You know, is he like, I'm gonna conquer the world today on this gag, you know? So I had to be in the same place, headspace as him, and understand the character and what the character was going through at that time.
Yeah.
So by studying all of his movements all day long, every day, I got good at it. And that, I think, was the most important part of me being him, and it being believable. When you watch the movie and not realizing that there's actually stunts being done by someone other than him, it's really important that, you know, when I got into the movie business, you didn't know about stunt people. Some people were quiet, you never saw them, they never talked about them, they were never even given credit. And I like that, because it really fits. You know, you're supposed to think it's the actor that's performing these amazing stunts, and oftentimes it is, and Mike does. I don't want to take anything away from him. He's an amazing athlete, and sometimes we would kind of be in a little bit of competition about who's going to do a stunt the best. And he'd go out and he'd like, I'm going to do this. And I'd go, okay, well, don't kill yourself in the process. And he would do it. He'd come back and he goes, how was that? I'd go, well, I got to stop, Mike. You do it better than I. Well, I'll do it if you can't do it. You know, he's like, no, I can do it. So that was my approach to the entire thing. And Mike and I really, you know, just totally linked up. It's like, you know, two brothers, similar, you know, close same age, and you know, we never really had to talk a lot. We just understood each other, and I think that was an important part of the whole thing. And it still applies today.
Yeah.
You know, 40 years later, we still have the same relationship.
It was so special to see. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So special to see that moment where we brought everyone out and you were all together. I think to see you both together was really, really special. Seeing double, quite literally, like Back to the Future 2.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, please.
I went to high school and was in the drama department with Crispin Glover. And I did the same thing you did. My friend turned on the computer, because I don't know how to use it, and typed in my name. And there was all these groups, like talking from Japan to California and so many people were saying, like, she's dead. There was a whole like death thing about me, but they were saying all these different things, and I was trying to figure out how to get into the groups and say, hi, I'm okay. But I don't know how to use a computer, so I wasn't able to do that.
So you had to start doing conventions to prove that you're alive. Yeah. All right, so we have a new format for Fan Expo this year. In order to try and fit more fan questions in, we had fans pre-submit questions, and I will ask your questions here. We've selected some that are for the group. So this question is from Isabel in Temple, Texas. If you could have played any other character in the Back to the Future series just for fun, who would you have wanted to play?
Lorraine.
All right, that's good.
But I really, really liked playing Jennifer.
Yeah.
And I think Leah Thompson is so brilliant that I'm embarrassed I said that.
It's okay, we won't tell her. She's right
I
now.
changed my mind. I would prefer to be my character.
All right, I like it. Yes, sir?
You know, I've done a lot of these shows, and I really mean it when I say I don't think we've ever encountered a group of people that are as friendly as you people here in Dallas.
Everything's big in Texas, including our love for Back to the Future. Especially number 3. It's a Western. All right, here we go. Anybody else, if there's another character you could have played? You're all really good as your characters.
I didn't meet anybody except for Michael when I was shooting the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so look. So I got called into the office, and I wrote in the ambulance, and at this point, you know, E.T. had been the biggest thing in the world Steven Spielberg was God in the movie business. So I go into Amblin, and Amblin has this complex on the Universal Studio lot. So the first thing I do is these huge Jurassic Park gates open up. It's like you can literally see the light. So I went into this meeting with Spielberg, Zemeckis, Bob Gale, and one of the producers, Neil Cannon. And the first thing they asked me, small talk, the first thing they asked me was, could I sing? So when you talk about what role would I have rather done, chances are I could have, had I been able to sing.
You would have had a gold record. But I do.
And the rest is history.
Nobody could play Mayor Goldie Wilson except you. So that
Well,
was.
that was the genius of the producers and the director. Everybody that was cast in that film is absolutely perfect for the role that they played in that film.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. All right.
Well, I would have played Gary too.
Oh, I'm Spartacus.
Because I love that song. And I would have loved to have sung that song.
There's another question for the whole group from Nathan in Bryan, Texas. If you could leave one message for fans who grew up with Back to the Future and are now introducing it to a new generation, what would you say? Maybe showing it to it's if you could leave one message for fans who grew up, it's the question is essentially saying, there's a generation of people who grew up with this movie, but there's a whole new generation that are discovering it now. How would you introduce Back to the Future to that new generation?
What advice would you give young people about Back to the Future? And what advice would you give young people? Let's hear that one.
What advice would I give to young people concerning what? Well,
Don't be a slacker!
as far as young people in Back to the Future, just keep watching it.
A lot of people don't know this, but while we were shooting, my wife, Tom's wife, Mike's wife, and Charlie's wife all gave birth to baby boys while we were shooting the film. I think Tom's, mine, and Mike's were like just a couple weeks separated from each other, and then yours was in October. And I think that, I don't know, the mysticism of the universe, of that new energy and the excitement, as if we didn't have enough stress already, I think it helped propel this piece. I just think there's something extraordinary why it's become this this iconic trilogy of one of the top 10 of all time now.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to answer? Can I answer? I wouldn't tell them anything because children from any age love Back to the Future so much. There's nothing you need to say. The movie says it. Because every generation has a special experience when they're
You can just look at the audience and see every age range.
Yeah.
The movie was made 40 years ago. Half of this room wasn't born.
Yeah. It's a real rite of passage, too. It's a really special movie that feels like we all had our own milestone with it, and then you get to pass it on. And there aren't a lot of movies like that in that way. It's really special for so many reasons, but that reason in particular. I just showed my daughter, who's here in the front row, for the first time. She hasn't watched it in a movie theater for 35 years.
Wait, you just showed it to her?
Well, I had to wait for the right moment.
You just showed it to her? Everybody go, shame, shame.
There's some questionable things between a mom and her son that she had.
Which is why Disney passed on the film.
So I did my first DeLorean car show with my son Sebastian, who was 12, and when I was with Bob Gale, and one of the audience members said, "How do you feel about your mom in the movie?" And he said, well, I haven't seen it yet. And the whole audience was like, oh, shit. And so one of the guys gave him the movie, and he's pretty much seen it when we do Comic Cons, and he's with me. I don't know if he actually, I mean, I'm not gonna like say sit down and watch all my TV series, so.
Right, yeah. Well, a whole new generation will have a chance to see it properly on the big screen. It's the 40th anniversary, so I think there's plans for it to come back to theaters, I'm sure, at some point. So if you are feeling shame, make sure that you fix that this year.
And we don't get residuals for that re-release.
Yeah, yeah. Here's another fan question. If you had a DeLorean time machine, what historical event would you travel back to?
Well, ask me one more time, I want to get this right.
If you had a DeLorean time machine, what historical event would you travel back to?
Ooh. Travel back to.
Or forwards to, but it seems trickier.
I know my answer.
I'd go back to building the pyramids.
Building pyramids,
That was
alright.
important.
Alright.
Whoever would design that had some really super stuff going on.
Yeah.
Remember, they called them gods, but maybe they were just ancient aliens and
Yeah.
all that stuff. That very much interests me. I'll have to check that out.
Pyramids. Charlie.
I would go everywhere and see what's going on, whether it went to the beginning of time and fast forward until now and then up to the future.
Yeah.
I want to see it all. I want to see
I love it.
everything.
Jeffrey?
I want to know what happened.
We'll go down the line here.
Oh, great. Charlie, I like Charlie's answer because there's so many time periods I would go to. I'd love to go, to Sun Records recording studios,
Yeah.
see those guys record. I'd like to go meet my grandfather who died before I was born. I would like to go and see an original Shakespeare production at the Globe.
Yeah.
I like your answer.
Yeah.
I go a bunch of places.
Francis. Your turn.
Okay, I'll pick one. It just popped into my head. I think the time between World War I and World War II, there's something about that time frame which was, we still in the throes of some depression, but also moving toward a real optimistic time in this country. And I also feel like there's something about it that is similar, that period of time, similar to what we were facing coming out of World War II in the period between then and now, and the 80s, we're sort of in the middle of that period. This is becoming a thesis. Sorry. But yeah, it's all right. But there's something about wishing you could go back to a time when things should have gone in a better way, and they didn't. And having a real wish to go back and change the course of history, which is of course what does happen in Back to the Future in such a beautiful way, but in a very intimate family kind of way. I think that the country at that time was still young enough and close enough in time that a lot of reparation could have been done in that period of time that was not done. And so as will happen, we're historically paying the price as we go forward. And that was one of the beautiful messages of the film in Back to the Future, was that they really did. Marty had a chance to go back and keep them from being erased as people and bring them forward into a more optimistic future. And we have to remind ourselves that that opportunity is always present.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as there is optimism in human life, that's a possibility.
Yeah. Good luck following that up, buddy.
Thank you, Francis. Laying that out there. I just want to know that I would not want to go back. I want to go to the future.
Yes! Yes!
That shit is done. Oh, excuse me.
If it hits 88 miles per hour, we're gonna see some serious.
Shh. Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna go to the future. I mean, my dad is 97,
Yeah.
so he has seen a whole century.
Yes.
So he's told me enough stories that I don't need to go back.
Yeah.
We're both looking forward to going into the
Yeah,
future.
I love it.
Just like you stole my role anyway. Yeah, so yeah, man, the future. I'm literally trying to get at least some years in the future where these daggone cars really fly.
I would absolutely go. Excuse me. I would go to meet Jesus Christ and hang out with him for 3 years. Or actually, I would go when he was born and hang out with him when he was a carpenter, and then watch the whole thing. And I would be one of the people that hung near him. That's what I would do.
It's one of, if you remember, that is one of the, as Doc is showing Marty, he's putting in all these red letter dates in history science, and he says the birth of Christ. So, yeah.
Oh, can I say one quick thing?
Sure, yeah.
My daddy was in World War II, and he was in the 10th Mountain Division.
Wow. All right, sir, take us out. If you could